The job market in Beijing is currently a 1 to 100,000 competition. It means for a position where you can comfortably sit in an office wearing your lipstick, 100,000 people are competing. Brothers, you should have fun and not study too much when you are young, otherwise you'll end up like me, getting into Peking University but still delivering food. I am a Peking University undergraduate who got in through the National College Entrance Examination, but in the end I had no choice but to become a food delivery driver. My mom set up a street stall to support me through university, and after graduation I ended up selling ice cream. It's a little sad to let others know. For the past decade or so, Beijing has been the dream city for many young people. It's a hub of prestigious universities, state-owned enterprises, and major internet companies. This city is like a giant magnet, attracting countless young people with dreams to leave their hometowns and embark on a journey of becoming Beijing drifters. For them, Beijing was not only a stage for striving, but also a city where they could change their destiny. However, in recent years, Beijing has also been unable to escape the shadow of a sustained economic downturn. The entrepreneurial environment has tightened, capital has withdrawn, industries have shrunk, and waves of layoffs have repeatedly occurred. And in the cracks of the city, there is an even more heartbreaking scene. Some people have no food to eat and can only scavenge leftovers from restaurants. I'm eating free KFC again today. I've been starving for days. This is all empty. There are still so many fries on this table and more than half a cup of Coke. The ketchup hasn't even been opened yet. It's a waste not to eat so much. This isn't finished yet. There's still a little bit left. There's still some sauce left over here. Let's dip it in some sauce. Those once passionate young entrepreneurs are beginning to leave Beijing. According to official data from the Beijing Municipal Bureau of Statistics and other sources, as of the end of 2024, Beijing's permanent resident population aged 20 to 34 was 4.54 million, a decrease of 345,000 year-on-year, and a decrease of 1.22 million compared to 2020. Both programmers in my family have lost their jobs. Without income, we still have to support our child, and the pressure of living in Beijing is immense. In the mornings, without an alarm clock, I wake up earlier than when I need to go to work. After a quick get ready, my husband takes our son to kindergarten. Watching his back as he walks away, I feel both relieved and sad. This is the person we'll keep by our side no matter how tough things get. After breakfast, there's no leisurely relaxation. I flood the laptop with endless resumes and scroll through the job postings endlessly. Occasionally, I got some online interviews trying to present my best self through the screen, but as soon as I hang up, anxiety creeps in. The blogger says that although they know most of the resumes they send out will likely go unanswered, they still persist in sending them out every day, unwilling to give up their efforts in Beijing. In the evening, when the child comes home from school, the once quiet rooms suddenly become lively. A family of 3 sat together, enjoying a simple dinner, listening to their son share funny stories from kindergarten. The day's anxieties seem to dissipate. Closed down. My store is completely closed down. We lost almost all of our $600,000. Our supermarket was near the Shiliu subway station in Fangtai District, Beijing. It officially opened in 2023, and it's been open for over 3 years. We lost money almost every month since opening, but we just couldn't bear to shut it down, always thinking there was still a chance. Now we finally made this decision, which is a way to cut our losses. The rent is due at the end of this month, so we're officially clearing out our stock. We have many regrets and reluctance about this store. Consider the $600,000 as an experience, a lesson learned. I quit my job right in March when the job market was tough. When everyone advised me not to leave, I decisively resigned. There was no impulsiveness, no anger, only long-standing exhaustion and a sense of relief. Over the years, I've worked as an actor and a live streamer, constantly rushing forward like a wound-up toy. In Beijing, I dared not stop, dared not slow down, dared not get sick, and dared not complain. Afraid that if I relaxed, I would be left behind. Afraid that if I looked back, I would have let down myself back then, who had gritted the teeth and forced the way in this city. Every day, I numbly rushed around in the crowded subway, suppressing my emotions and hiding my grievances deep inside. The blogger said that like most people, he was afraid of not finding a job after quitting, but his health had already started to deteriorate. making him increasingly doubt the meaning of his work. His colleagues all advised him not to quit, but only he knew what this job was giving him. He was exhausted both physically and mentally every day. Faced with a choice between money and health, many would choose money, but he chose health. He lamented that he needs to work, but life is more than just work. It also needs sincerity and kindness and a touch of warmth and humanity. I feel that Beijing is a very unfriendly city for people from other places. Why? First, you don't have a Beijing hukou, which it's very difficult to get one. This legally and psychologically prevents you from joining the city. Not only do you face many inconveniences, but your children might have to transfer to another city halfway through their schooling, which is very troublesome. I always feel that this isn't good for the children's mental well-being. The second point is buying a property. If you want to have a home in a city, you have to buy a condo. Put aside your affordability, you're not even eligible to buy one. When I first came to Beijing, I had to pay Social Security continuously for 5 years to buy one. If you're not eligible to buy, you can only rent. I calculated the other day that even if you only rent for 6 or 7 years, it might still cost you $40,000 in Beijing. I was laid off before the Chinese New Year, and my income from starting a home-based business afterward isn't very stable either. Now, I need to consider whether to continue drifting in Beijing. Has anyone else experienced sudden unemployment? What should you choose next? After the Chinese New Year, income from both self-media and online stores is very poor. Although staying in my hometown is indeed very comfortable, I have to face reality. As a rural girl without any support, I need to work hard to earn money. Since I updated my resume from the end of the year until now, I feel there are more job opportunities in Beijing. Companies contact me from time to time, and I should start preparing for interviews. Yes, I finally decided to plan to return to Beijing, at least to have a stable income. The blogger said that when chatting with friends during the Lunar New Year, most people advised her to work hard in Beijing for another 2 years. In comparison, job opportunities and salary levels in Handan City, Hebei province are much lower. She wanted to earn more money in Beijing, then buy a house back in her hometown and settle down. Her friend's advice sounded practical, and she felt that perhaps this arrangement suited her best. The cost of living in Beijing is outrageously high. It scared me to death. I didn't even dare go into a supermarket and specifically looked for a small roadside shop, thinking it might be cheaper, but I still couldn't escape it. I only bought a few ordinary fruits and vegetables, and the bill came to over 70 yuan. Just a few common fruits and vegetables, and the price was almost the same as a takeout meal. I almost put it back and didn't buy anything. Everyone says that consumption is declining, but my child is growing and you can't go without fruit. Besides, we're not eating delicacies, just ordinary fruit. I didn't even buy durian. Alas, living in Beijing, housing is difficult. Food is even more difficult. The pressure of daily expenses is really too great. I've been unemployed for over 3 months since I was laid off at the end of September. Unexpectedly, my husband's company is also starting layoffs at the end of the year, forcing us to reconsider whether to continue our lives as migrant workers in Beijing. Jobs are hard to find now, and interview opportunities in first-tier cities like Beijing are extremely scarce. Should we stay in Beijing to continue looking for work, or take this opportunity to return to our hometown and settle down? Actually, I'm still a bit lost facing the sudden news from my husband's company. If we continue to stay in Beijing, our lease is about to expire. Moving with my mother-in-law and child and continuing to rent such a place while both of us are unemployed will put a huge strain on our finances. The blogger said that if only she and her husband continued drifting in Beijing, the pressure might be less. But then their child might have to go back to their hometown with their mother-in-law, becoming a left-behind child. This is what's most painful and agonizing for her. Friends back home, knowing their current situation, advise them to return as soon as possible, believing that without a Beijing hukou, that is, Beijing household registration, they would eventually have to go back to their hometown anyway. But in their view, returning home now is equally uncertain. Job opportunities are scarce, yet the cost of living is high. For people like them, lacking both resources and connections, returning home would mean starting from scratch. Everyone envies young people in Beijing who don't have to leave their hometowns, but they're still being grounded and worn down by life. Even though we live in condos worth millions of yuan, the condo can't be sold, and we live in a greenbelt. We won't starve, but we won't live a decent life either. Last year, my family saved $4,400, right? It's almost gone after just 2 months. Insurance, property management fees, and the $1,300 heating fee that hasn't been paid yet. In fact, most ordinary Beijingers live a seemingly wealthy but actually frugal life. Beijing has many job opportunities and high salaries, but not all Beijingers can squeeze into high-paying industries like the internet and finance. Most ordinary Beijingers live on a salary of a few thousand yuan, like in third-tier cities. In the capital, we don't have the capital to win by doing nothing. We only have the pressure of being laid off when the competition fails. My husband is 38 years old, a master's graduate from Beijing University of Posts and Telecommunications, and worked for a major internet company for 12 years. 2 months after being laid off, he finally received his desired offer. A few days ago, he received a notification from HR that he passed all 3 rounds of interviews, and the final additional interview and the salary was also agreed upon. Compared to his previous salary, it's a 10% pay cut, and my husband is going to start work tomorrow. Brother Ming was suddenly laid off before the Chinese New Year, and I was indeed anxious during that time. We have a $2,800 monthly mortgage, and we have elderly parents and young children to support. Everyone says that the programmers have a short career span, and the crisis at 35 is inevitable. But I still want to seriously tell everyone, don't be anxious in advance, and don't anticipate troubles. The blogger said that during the period of unemployment, her husband, Brother Ming, spent almost every day and night on recruitment websites and technical forums, and revised his resume more than a dozen times. Before each interview, he would practice his answers in front of the mirror repeatedly, afraid of missing any opportunity. Ultimately, through this persistence and hard work, he landed his current job. To the owners of physical stores and the brothers working in Beijing, I just want to ask you one question. At this rate, how long can you hold on? It looks prosperous and bustling on the outside, but in reality, too many people are just barely hanging on. Having worked in finance for so many years, every day I see either struggling employees barely making ends meet or small business owners burdened with debt. Many people work hard for a month but can't even afford the rent. Many businesses have been running for a whole year and still end up losing money. I just want to ask how many people are using credit cards to pay off debts, and how many are relying on their savings to survive. Is life difficult? Tell the truth in the comments section. Hello friends, how was your spring festival? I'm almost 40 and I've been drifting in Beijing for over 10 years. No background, no connections, just my own hard work and an indomitable spirit to support my little family. Before the Chinese New Year, I lost my job again. Although I'd been unemployed before, this time was particularly painful. The new year was almost here, and instead of a year-end bonus, I received a termination letter. On my last day at the company, the Beijing wind stung my face. The blogger said that his parents-in-law and son happened to be visiting Beijing during those days. To avoid worrying his family, he didn't tell them about his unemployment, continuing to leave early and return late every day, pretending everything was normal. During that time, he relentlessly sent out resumes, waited for replies, and attended interviews, never daring to stop for a moment. He kept telling himself to persevere. Once the Chinese New Year was over, he would definitely find a job. However, reality dealt him a harsh blow. All the interviews he attended before the new year ended in failure, and after returning, he couldn't even get a single opportunity for an interview. Late at night, he asked himself, almost 40 years old, still drifting in Beijing, is it really worth it? After so many years of struggle still ending up like this, should I leave and go back to my hometown to start over? This year's business is so abnormal. Right after the Spring Festival, it went straight into the off-season. Some business owners who have been in business for 1 or 2 decades say they've never seen such a bizarre market. When did our business start to decline? Most business owners have been declining since August or September of last year. Suddenly, all the old customers stopped coming, but new shops on the street keep opening up. It's like even though business is getting harder and harder for everyone, more and more people are coming in. That's the strangest thing. I might be laid off. I hadn't even fully accepted what I was saying when I said it. Actually, the company started laying off people in November. Back then, our department was considered a core department with many projects and a fast pace. We were busy every day. I comforted myself thinking it wouldn't be our turn yet, but after just over a month, the tide turned. The boss set hard targets. We had to lay off more people, regardless of whether they were in core departments. The only focus was on cost cutting. HR hadn't spoken to me yet, but every day at work, I feel a layer of uncertainty. You don't know if it's today, tomorrow, or next week. You just vaguely feel this wind is already blowing around you. The blogger said that the most painful thing isn't the reduction in work, but the constant state of being in suspense. Even though you're still working every day, pushing forward projects and completing tasks according to requirements, the thought always pops into your head. What if all this effort suddenly stops one day? He didn't dare talk too much to his family, nor did he dare have deep conversations with his colleagues. Everyone seems normal on the surface, but in reality, everyone is silently observing the situation. Nobody knows if they can escape this round of layoffs. If it really came down to him, he would have no choice but to accept it.
又来捡漏啦！
Here we go again, scavenging for leftovers. Some fans ask me if it's shameful to scavenge for leftovers. I can only say, food is the most important thing for people. Some netizens say that scavenging for leftovers is like being late to a dinner party. That's a brilliant understanding. Ha, like this casserole of peas and pork intestines, ordering a serving would easily cost several tens of yuan. But for scavenging for leftovers, it's like getting it for free, so why not? Even though there's no pork intestine left, the peas definitely still have the flavor of pork intestine. These soybeans look very appetizing. Although the chicken feet inside are gone, there's definitely still a lingering chicken feet flavor on the soybeans. That's about enough. The rest will be left for my colleagues to pick up. For those of you in middle age in Northeast China earning $700 a month and still getting social insurance and housing fund contributions, cling tightly to your boss's coattails and don't let go. I've been looking for a job lately, practically worn out all the job postings. I don't think my requirements are high. I just want to find a clerical job in Changchun with a monthly salary of $700. As long as there are weekends off and social insurance contributions. But most of my resumes have disappeared without a trace, or they're read but not replied to. I really want to seriously ask, in our area, does asking for weekends off and social insurance contributions violate any local laws? The blogger said she finally received an interview invitation from a small company. It's a private company with only about 20 employees, and she's competing for the only clerical position. When she pushed open the door at the agreed time, she was taken aback. 7 or 8 people were sitting neatly in a line, waiting to be called. Seeing this, she felt both nervous and expectant, hoping she would get the job this time. This blogger often went to the market to collect vegetables. Some were discarded by vendors, and others fell off the truck during unloading. Hey, these bell peppers are pretty good, bright green and shiny. They'll make a delicious steamed egg custard at home. A few will be enough. You know, what a coincidence. This truck is unloading cabbages here. Let's check around and see if there's any cabbage. If there is, we'll pick some up. Seems like there isn't any, just cabbage stalks. Let's wander around a bit more. There are mushrooms here too. These mushrooms look bleached and feel firm to the touch. Are these mushrooms edible? So many bags. These are called seafood mushrooms. They have a faint seafood flavor. When we get home, we'll stir fry some bok choy slices. Delicious. Do you usually buy these mushrooms? How do you usually cook them? That's all for today. If you enjoy our content, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment, or share it with a friend. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you next time.